Archangel Michael is crying desperately because he is trying to reach you. Something unbelievable is about to happen. This person is about to be arrested for taking what belongs to you. My beloved child. There is a trembling in the unseen, and it is not fear, it is urgency. Listen closely now, because this moment did not arrive by accident. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Every second matters, and every breath you take right now is part of a sequence that has been forming for far longer than you realize. You have felt it, haven't you? That quiet pressure in your chest when the world goes silent for a second. That pause before sleep where your thoughts gather like clouds. That is not confusion. That is a signal. And today, the signal has reached its highest intensity. Archangel Michael is trying to reach you. Not gently. Not quietly. Desperately. With a force that cannot be ignored any longer. If you are here, it is because the message has finally found a crack in the noise of your life. Do not scroll away. Do not doubt this moment. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There has been a weight placed upon your name without your consent. A weight created by someone who took what was never theirs to carry. You were patient. You stayed silent. You told yourself that time would correct it. And time listened. Because now, the correction has begun. You may not know the full story yet, but your spirit does. Deep inside, you have sensed that something was wrong, not loudly, but persistently. A subtle knowing that something valuable drifted away from you through hands that smiled while taking it. That season is closing now. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is not about revenge. This is about restoration. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of truth, and his tears are not weakness, they are resolve. When justice moves, it moves quietly at first. Paper shifts. Doors close. Conversations happen behind walls you cannot see. And then, suddenly, everything changes. The one who benefited from your silence believed the story was finished. They believed time would erase the trail. But there is a moment when balance demands attention, and that moment is now. You are about to witness the turning point that your patience prepared. Stay with me. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were chosen for endurance because endurance builds credibility in the unseen. Every time you held back when you could have spoken, something was recorded. Every time you chose dignity over reaction, a layer of protection formed around your future. That protection is activating now. This is why the message feels heavy. This is why your heart feels alert. This is why random memories are resurfacing. These are not distractions. These are confirmations. There is a line that cannot be crossed anymore. The individual who crossed it believed they were invisible. They are not. Systems are aligning. Authority is paying attention. What was hidden is becoming clear, not through chaos, but through order. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You may notice signs today, small but precise. A name you haven't heard in a while. A document referenced unexpectedly. A conversation that feels strangely timed. These are markers. When they appear, do not dismiss them. They are proof that the process has already begun. Archangel Michael does not move randomly. When he intervenes, it is because the scales have tipped beyond tolerance. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared to receive what returns to you without fear, without confusion, without guilt. There is relief ahead. Not loud relief. Deep relief. The kind that settles into your bones and reminds you who you were before doubt tried to rename you. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. What was taken created a gap in your life, emotionally, materially, spiritually. That gap is closing. And when it does, it will feel sudden, even though it was earned slowly. That is how true reversals happen. Do not be surprised if the truth arrives through official words, formal tone, or unexpected confirmation. Justice often wears a calm face. And when it speaks, it does not ask permission. You are not required to chase this. You are not required to confront anyone. Your role was patience, and you fulfilled it. Now the outcome moves without your effort. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As this unfolds, remember this: what returns to you will not only restore what was lost, it will restore your confidence in timing. You will understand why it could not happen sooner, and why it cannot be delayed any longer. This is the beginning of exposure, not through scandal, but through truth. And truth does not rush, it arrives exactly when it is undeniable. Hold steady. Breathe. Pay attention. Because the moment you have been sensing has already begun. My beloved child. Something is shifting behind closed doors, and you can feel it even if you cannot yet name it. This is the moment where silence becomes evidence and patience becomes power. Pause with me here. Do not rush past this. What unfolds next is not ordinary, and it connects directly to what you have lived through. You were not imagining the resistance. You were not wrong about the imbalance. There was a point where things stopped flowing the way they should have, where effort no longer matched outcome. That was the first sign that something had been diverted. Not lost. Diverted. And diversion always leaves a trace. Listen carefully now. This is where clarity begins. There are systems in the world that do not move by emotion, but by record. Timelines. Transactions. Statements. Patterns. When something is taken without rightful authority, it may look settled on the surface, but underneath, it keeps echoing. Those echoes have reached the point where they can no longer be ignored. Archangel Michael stands not as a symbol, but as a force of correction. His presence signals that the matter has crossed from personal struggle into collective accountability. That is why this feels bigger than before. That is why it feels close. Stay with this moment. Do not skip ahead. Something significant is forming. You may be wondering why this is happening now. Why not earlier, when the damage first appeared? Because timing determines outcome. If exposure comes too early, it is dismissed. If it comes too late, it loses meaning. This moment is precise. Every delay before this served a purpose you could not see at the time. The person who took what belonged to you built their certainty on one assumption, that you would never be heard. That assumption is breaking. Not through confrontation, not through noise, but through verification. Facts do not argue. They simply stand. There is a reason certain memories are resurfacing for you lately. A conversation. A decision. A moment you brushed aside because you did not have proof then. Those memories are returning now because proof is aligning with them. This is how truth prepares the mind before it reveals itself. Do not scroll away. Stay present. What comes next ties everything together. In real life, accountability often arrives disguised as routine. An unexpected review. A formal notice. A question asked at the wrong time by the right person. To outsiders, it looks normal. To the one who knows they crossed a line, it feels like the ground shifting. You will not need to announce anything. You will not need to explain yourself. When justice moves properly, it does not ask for witnesses. It creates its own. This is why Archangel Michael's urgency is felt now. Not because chaos is coming, but because order is being restored. Order always begins quietly. You may notice a strange calm entering your thoughts after this message. That calm is not relief yet. It is certainty. Certainty that what you endured was not wasted, and that what was taken did not disappear into nothing. Stay till the end of this message. Something important is about to become clear. What returns to you may not look exactly like what was taken, but it will carry the same value, multiplied by understanding. Sometimes restoration comes as recognition. Sometimes as opportunity. Sometimes as a door reopening that was once sealed without explanation. And sometimes, restoration comes as the removal of a weight you have been carrying without realizing it. The person involved believed distance protected them. But distance does not erase records. Time does not erase responsibility. It only sharpens it. You are closer now than you have ever been to closure that does not require your effort. Let that sink in. You do not have to chase this ending. It is already moving toward you. Hold your focus. Stay steady. The unfolding has begun, and the next phase will make sense of everything that once felt unfair. This is not the end of the story. This is the point where the truth steps forward. My beloved child. A line has been crossed that cannot be uncrossed, and this is where the story turns. What you are sensing now is not imagination, it is confirmation forming before evidence arrives. Stay with this moment. Do not skip ahead. What is coming next explains why everything unfolded the way it did. There is a difference between delay and denial. What you experienced was delay, carefully measured, deliberately timed. While you were learning restraint, something else was happening quietly, patterns were being logged, inconsistencies noticed, stories compared. You were not asked to participate because your role was not to chase truth, but to survive it. That phase is ending. In the real world, accountability does not announce itself loudly. It tightens. It narrows options. It removes exits one by one until the truth has nowhere left to hide. The person who took what belonged to you is beginning to feel this pressure now, even if they do not yet understand its source. This is why Archangel Michael's presence feels intense rather than comforting. Correction is not gentle for those who resisted it. It is precise. Pause here. Listen closely. There is a moment when confidence turns into panic, not because of exposure, but because control slips away. That moment has already occurred. The questions being asked are no longer casual. The attention being paid is no longer routine. Someone noticed what did not add up. You may soon hear something indirectly. A sudden change in behavior. A delay where there used to be certainty. A conversation that feels rehearsed. These are not coincidences. These are symptoms. Do not skip. Stay present. Something decisive is approaching. You are protected from knowing too much too early because knowledge without power creates frustration. Now, knowledge is aligning with outcome. This is why the message reaches you now and not before. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of boundaries. When boundaries are violated repeatedly, intervention becomes inevitable. This is not about punishment, it is about restoring balance where imbalance was normalized. The surprising truth is this: the longer someone benefits from what is not theirs, the clearer the trail becomes. Small adjustments made to hide one action often expose many others. What began with you did not end with you. And that is why attention has intensified. You are not the only name connected to this story, but you are the reason it can no longer be ignored. Take a breath here. You may have questioned your own instincts in the past. You may have wondered if you were overthinking, misreading, or exaggerating. You were not. Your awareness was accurate, but incomplete by design. Completion is arriving now. When resolution comes, it will feel both sudden and overdue. That is how truth re-enters a situation it was forced out of. Calmly. Firmly. Without apology. Stay until the end of this message. Something important is about to become undeniable. What was taken from you created a ripple, missed opportunities, altered paths, unnecessary struggle. Those ripples are being traced back to their source. And when they are, responsibility follows naturally. You will not need to celebrate. You will not need to explain. Closure does not require performance. It requires acknowledgement. This is the phase where your role shifts from endurance to readiness. Not readiness to fight, but readiness to receive clarity without shock. To accept restoration without guilt. To move forward without carrying the weight of unanswered questions. The unseen work is nearly complete. When the final confirmation arrives, you will recognize it immediately, not because it will be dramatic, but because it will feel exact. Like the missing piece sliding into place. Hold steady. The turning point is no longer ahead of you. It is unfolding now. My beloved child. This is the phase where silence becomes loud. Where nothing dramatic appears on the surface, yet everything underneath is being finalized. Stay here with me. Do not skip ahead. What you are about to understand will explain why the ending cannot be stopped now. There is a point in every hidden story where momentum shifts away from the one who thought they were safe. That point has already passed. What remains is process. Calm. Methodical. Unavoidable. This is how real consequences take shape in the real world. You may notice that the situation feels strangely out of your hands now, and that is intentional. The moment justice requires your involvement, it becomes personal conflict. But when justice moves without you, it becomes official. That distinction matters. Archangel Michael does not arrive to stir emotion. He arrives to lock outcomes in place. Pause and listen carefully. The person who took what belonged to you is no longer managing the narrative. Others are reviewing it now. People whose role is not to sympathize, but to verify. Once verification begins, explanations lose their power. Only alignment with truth matters. This is why there has been an increase in pressure, delays, and mistakes on their side. When someone has lived comfortably inside a false advantage, they underestimate how quickly it collapses once attention shifts. Small errors begin to stack. Patterns repeat. Confidence slips. These are not assumptions. This is how accountability unfolds in everyday life. Stay with this until the end. Something significant is approaching. What may surprise you is how quietly this resolves. No confrontation. No dramatic exchange. Just a moment where you realize the weight you carried is no longer yours. That realization will come first. Confirmation follows after. You were never meant to fight for what was already yours. You were meant to outlast the lie surrounding it. And you did. There is another truth you should hear now: the outcome will not damage you. Sometimes people fear resolution because they believe it will reopen old wounds. This one will not. It will close them cleanly. When the final step occurs, it may arrive through formal language, neutral tone, or third-party communication. That does not make it less powerful. It makes it undeniable. Archangel Michael's urgency was not about chaos entering your life. It was about order returning to it. Do not skip away now. Let this settle. You may feel an urge to look back once this is done, to review what you endured, to measure how much was taken. Do not stay there long. Reflection is useful, but dwelling is unnecessary once balance is restored. What matters more is what becomes possible afterward. Clear thinking. Forward movement. Opportunities that no longer feel blocked by invisible resistance. The person involved will have their own reckoning. That is not your burden. Your responsibility ends with receiving what aligns with you and releasing what never should have been carried. This is how chapters close without noise. This is how justice completes its work without spectacle. And this is why, when the final confirmation reaches you, it will feel calm instead of shocking. Familiar instead of surprising. As if, deep down, you always knew this was the only possible ending. Hold steady. The process is complete. And what was taken no longer defines the future in front of you. My beloved child. This is the moment where understanding settles deeper than emotion. What is unfolding now is not only an external change, but an internal release. Stay with this message. Do not skip ahead. What you grasp here will shift how you see everything that comes next. There is a truth few people talk about: when something is taken from you unjustly, it does not only affect what you lost, it alters how you move through the world afterward. You became more careful, more observant, more guarded. That was not weakness. That was adaptation. And adaptation kept you intact long enough for this moment to arrive. Now, that phase is ending. Archangel Michael's presence here is not about fear or urgency anymore. It is about confirmation. The kind that arrives when outcomes are already sealed. The work has been done quietly, thoroughly, without drama. What remains is disclosure. You may already feel lighter without knowing why. That is because pressure lifts before explanation arrives. The mind often understands after the spirit does. Pause here. Listen. In real life, when responsibility catches up to someone, it rarely looks like a sudden collapse. It looks like restriction. Fewer options. Increased scrutiny. Loss of protection they assumed was permanent. The person connected to your loss is moving through this phase now. And here is the revelation most people never expect: accountability does not need your participation to be effective. In fact, it is strongest when it unfolds without your involvement. This ensures that what happens cannot be questioned, challenged, or redirected toward you. You are not meant to be part of the conflict. You are meant to be the reason it resolves. Do not scroll away yet. Something important is still unfolding. There will come a point where you realize you are no longer waiting. The anticipation you carried for so long will simply disappear. That absence is the signal. It means the story has moved beyond uncertainty. You may receive confirmation indirectly. Through circumstance. Through sudden access. Through a blockage lifting that you had learned to live with. Restoration often announces itself through ease. What was taken delayed you, but it did not derail you. That distinction matters. Because what is returning now is not only balance, but momentum. Archangel Michael's tears were not sorrow for you, they were resolve against what overstayed its welcome in your life. Some things are allowed to exist only for a season. When that season ends, removal follows. You will not need to explain your relief to anyone. You will not need to justify your peace. When justice completes its cycle, it leaves no loose ends that require defense. Stay until the end of this message. This final understanding matters. The chapter you are closing was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. And refinement always precedes release. What comes next will feel quieter, clearer, and more aligned with who you were before the weight was placed on you. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping out of distortion. And as this part of the story fades, remember this, the fact that you are still standing means you were never meant to lose what truly belonged to you. Only to reclaim it at the right time. That time is no longer approaching. It is here. My beloved child. There is a quiet threshold you are standing on now, and crossing it changes how the past feels forever. Stay with this moment. Do not skip ahead. What you are about to recognize will explain why everything feels unusually still before the shift. When resolution approaches, noise fades. The questions stop circling. The urge to prove yourself disappears. That calm you are sensing is not emptiness, it is certainty arriving before evidence. This is how alignment announces itself. You were never meant to carry the full story. You were meant to carry yourself through it. And you did. That is why the final phase does not require your effort. It requires your awareness. Archangel Michael's role now is not pursuit. It is sealing. Once a matter is sealed, outcomes proceed without interference. This is why things may feel inevitable rather than dramatic. Real consequences move this way, quietly, firmly, without reversal. Pause and listen closely. In everyday life, when something has been taken improperly, there comes a moment when access is restricted. Permissions change. Oversight increases. What once flowed easily becomes complicated. These are not coincidences. They are signals that authority has shifted. The person connected to your loss is experiencing this narrowing now. Options closing. Timing failing. Support thinning. Not because of chance, but because alignment no longer favors what was built on imbalance. This is the revelation most people miss. Justice does not rush to be seen. It waits until it cannot be avoided. Stay present. Something decisive is approaching. You may soon notice that your own path feels less resistant. Decisions become simpler. Opportunities stop requiring explanation. This contrast is intentional. As pressure increases on one side, release appears on the other. Balance always redistributes. There is no need to confront the past to move beyond it. Closure does not come from answers alone. It comes from outcomes that speak for themselves. Archangel Michael's urgency was never about warning you of danger. It was about preparing you to receive clarity without shock. To recognize restoration without confusion. You might be surprised by how ordinary the confirmation feels when it arrives. A message. A notice. A change in status. Ordinary moments often carry extraordinary meaning when timing is exact. Do not scroll away yet. This understanding completes the picture. What was taken from you altered your pace, but it sharpened your perception. You see more now. You trust your instincts differently. That awareness will remain with you long after this chapter closes, serving you in ways you cannot yet predict. The ending you are approaching does not require celebration. It requires acceptance. Acceptance that what was wrong has been corrected. That what was delayed has been released. That what was hidden has been addressed. This is how Archangel Michael's work concludes, not with spectacle, but with certainty. Hold steady as this settles. The weight you carried is no longer part of your future. And what moves forward from here does so without resistance. My beloved child. This is where meaning replaces mystery. Stay with me here. Do not skip ahead. What unfolds now will explain why your patience was tested and why the ending could only arrive this way. There is a final stage before resolution that few recognize while they are inside it. It feels like waiting, but it is actually alignment finishing its work. Nothing feels urgent anymore because urgency has already served its purpose. What remains is inevitability. You may have noticed a change in how you respond to reminders of the past. What once stirred emotion now feels distant, almost neutral. That is not avoidance. That is completion approaching. When the heart no longer reacts, the story no longer controls you. Archangel Michael stands at this stage not as a messenger, but as a witness. When a matter reaches witness, it means the outcome is fixed. The record is closed. The correction proceeds. Pause here and listen carefully. In real life, the moment before accountability becomes visible is often marked by strange calm. People expect chaos, but what actually arrives is stillness. That stillness is not absence, it is containment. Everything is being held in place so nothing escapes. The individual who benefited from what was not theirs may still appear outwardly composed. But internally, the structure they relied on is no longer stable. Support weakens. Assumptions fail. The environment changes without warning. This is how pressure manifests before exposure. You are not meant to witness that pressure. You are meant to move beyond the need to see it. Stay until the end of this message. Something essential is coming into focus. What surprises most people is how restoration feels when it finally arrives. It does not feel like victory. It feels like alignment snapping back into place. Like your life recognizing itself again. That recognition is what you have been missing, not the thing itself, but the sense that things make sense again. The truth is this: what was taken from you delayed your expansion, but it also refined your direction. You learned what you will no longer tolerate. You learned where your boundaries truly lie. Those lessons remain valuable long after the situation resolves. Archangel Michael's urgency came from knowing that this clarity was overdue. Not because you were failing, but because you were ready. Do not scroll away now. Let this complete. When confirmation arrives, and it will, it may not demand your reaction. You may simply nod internally and continue forward. That is the sign of true closure. No explanation needed. No validation required. The chapter does not end with noise. It ends with understanding. You are no longer defined by what was taken, by who took it, or by how long it lasted. You are defined by how you emerged, aware, intact, and unburdened. This is the final transformation. Not of circumstance, but of position. And from this position, nothing that belongs to you can be taken again.